Good people, what is going on? Another episode of the All Go Podcast. I'm your host, Desmond. Thank you for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. Wanted to do a quick video about, saw a couple mock drafts, and they both had the Carolina Panthers and your Dallas Cowboys mocked as drafting wide receivers in the first round. Now, I understand that rationale. For Bryce Young, he needs a wide receiver because this is going to be a really big year for his development and his future. He's going into year three, if I'm not mistaken, and you really need to figure out what do we have here as a quarterback. His rookie year looked pretty bad. Even his second year, for the first half of it, looked really rough. And then down the stretch, he actually played pretty well. So for the Panthers, I do understand it. You want to figure out what the heck do we have there. For the Cowboys, I also get that as well. You're trying to figure out what can we do with having Dak coming back, presumably healthy. All reports are that he is going to be healthy. And we need someone opposite of CeeDee Lamb to take some pressure off of him. He had I know receivers don't have a usage rate that's more basketball term, but his usage rate was extremely high. I mean, he had a lot of the targets for the Dallas Cowboys went to CeeDee Lamb. So I do understand that. But I think it would be mistakes for both of those franchises if they went that route. Did a quick search and found out that the Carolina Panthers defense was last in a lot of major categories. And with the number 8 pick in the draft, I would say it is much more difficult to find a really good it's much more difficult to find a really good defender later in the draft versus finding a good receiver later on in the draft. I think this receiving group is pretty deep. I don't think has a lot of guys who are extremely elite. I mean, I would argue, I'm not quite sure how elite Ted McMillan is going to be. I think he's going to be a really good receiver, but he's not a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb type of wide receiver, and that's okay. That's not a knock on him. But I think there's a lot of guys that you could get from that the third or fourth receiver in this draft down to the seventh or eighth receiver in this draft. I think can be guys who can come in and contribute. I even think from Colorado, and I may be a little biased, but Jimmy Horn Jr. is a receiver there. He battled some injuries. He had about 50 catches, 500-ish yards, but blazing fast. And I think he's someone that can come in and contribute right away as a rookie. I don't think he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver as a rookie, but I think he can be someone who can come in and contribute. And you just need help on the defense. Derek Brown will be back. Do understand that. J.C. Horn is going to be back. But, I mean, at number 8, I think Mason Graham's probably off of the board at that point. If I would imagine Jacksonville is going to draft him at 5, as they should. But you never know. They have a new GM there as well, and maybe they want to go offense. And if Mason Graham falls in your lap at 8, I mean, holy cow! You're talking about Mason Graham with Derek Brown together in the middle of that defense. You've got something to work with. For Dallas, kind of similar. I mean, is Ted McMillan gonna stop the run? Because even before Micah Parsons was banged up, they couldn't stop the run for the life of them. And DeMarcus Lawrence is gone. He's in Seattle now, so you're even smaller on the defensive line. Mozzie Smith was supposed to be a guy who was going to come in and help with that run defense, and he just hasn't done that. He hasn't played well, hasn't been what you thought he was going to be. So to me, I think it would be wildly irresponsible for both of those franchises to go that route. We'll see what happens. Not quite sure, but that wouldn't be the route that I would go. And but with Jerry Jones, you never know. And then with Carolina Panthers, you also never know either. So let me know your thoughts. Greatly appreciate it. That's it for me. Peace.